This video is a part of a series where I teach you all the fundamental basics of Unity and how to get started with developing your own game in Unity. You're welcome to leave any recommendations in the comments section for a topic that you want me to explain. For example, if you don't know what a rigid body is, I will dedicate an entire video to explaining it to the finest detail. Now, enough of me babbling, let's get on to the video. So today in this tutorial, I'll be teaching you some of the main methods you can start coding in Unity. I'll be teaching you in the general direction and you can start exploring yourself. So what you want to do first is create a C# script within the project tab. Right click, create C# script, and I'm gonna name mine, for example, player script. Right there, and I'm gonna create a 3D object to showcase the script on. So 3D object cube, and let me just name it something like our layer, and dragging the script, player script, onto the cube. Once you have opened your script, this is what it should look like, and we're gonna get started with some of the basic variables in Unity. Everything I teach you here is going to be the basics of the basics to get started coding in Unity. After you watch this tutorial, you should be able to explore around yourself and find some things that's interesting to play around with. So first, I assume you have some basic knowledge of coding and you've searched around the internet for some tutorials on C# coding in Unity. So let's get started. First, I'm going to teach you how to edit a variable within the editor, so you don't have to keep going back into your code to keep changing the values. For example, this is what it's going to look like over here. It's going to be similar to the fields that Unity already gives you. So this is the one that I've just created, and what we can do is modify the value within the editor without going into the code. And this is what the code looks like. Yep, that is all it is. Just one line of code to do all of that. It's not much, but you can utilize this to make some pretty interesting stuff. This would be an in-game example of actual use of the public variable I've just shown you. So you have a variable for the jump height of the character and the speed. So then you can modify it directly within the Unity editor like all these other values over here, rather than going back into a code over and over again to get the best values. And yes, if you guessed it, this is all there is to this 2 lines of code. And next, I'm gonna dissect it up to little chunks so everyone can understand it. Just a disclaimer, when I'm explaining this, I won't be using professional terms so that everyone who's watching this video can understand it in the most standard form. No fancy words, just words that we all know what it means. So let's get started. I'm gonna get rid of all the other code in this document and just leave that one bit. So this one line of code is dissected into 3 segments: public, int, and speed. What this first part is basically if it will be shown in the editor or not. If you get rid of this and save it, go back to the Unity editor and click on player, and you will see that the field is now gone. There's another way you can do the same thing, which is a private. Public, private, based off the meaning of the word, you can guess what it does. So you'll do the same thing, it won't be shown in the editor. So if I change it back to public and save it, and now we can modify the values. So the next value is the type of the value that we want to change. So right now, if we go back, it's a int, so it's a number. It's a number that we can change, a whole number. There's no decimal places. If we wanted to have decimal places, we will just change this to a float. Sorry, float. Save this and go back. And dragging this now will give you a decimal value that will go up by the 2 decimal places behind. So same, keep on going. There's other values like string, which is a word that you can modify. Going back to the Unity editor, speed is no longer a number now, so we can type whatever in this, hello. And this will be a string saved in the editor. And don't worry, I'll be leaving a list of variables you can use right here at the end of the video, so you can test them out all for yourself. As you have seen, that's one of the main functions of the public value that you can put within the Unity editor. So this is another very important way that we can use the public value, is by dragging another object or anything into the field right here. So with the material here, none, meaning that you have to drag it into this for it to load into the scene. So I'm just gonna create a quick material to drag into the mesh. So to create a material, you right click in the project and then go create and material. So I'm just gonna quickly make it red so it's easy for us to see. There, and simply drag it into the part where it says materials. Boom, and now the box is red. Same with the material here. I've made it so that it needs a game object right here. It says none, that's what it needs to have, a game object. So what a game object is anything you have within the hierarchy. So right click and all of this here are game objects. So I can just simply drag a game object into the cube. I'm just gonna drag the camera and boom. Now the main camera is hooked into the game object. And if you guessed it correctly, the code, it is right here. That's all there is. Public. This is the variable of the thing. Oh, sorry, variable of the value. So what value it's gonna take in, a game object, and then the name of the value, a camera. So that's basically all there is to variables or values in simple words. And in the next one, I'll be teaching you how to use these variables to create some interesting stuff and explore around yourself to see what you can create with this. Last things last, I'll be leaving a link in the description for a tutorial course that Unity has made themselves and also their own manual. And you may be thinking that why did I just leave that in the first place instead of making this video? Because at first, as a beginner, I find that reading the manual or just simply following the tutorials was very confusing for me, and some of the terms within I didn't get. So now that I've explained the basics mechanics behind this, now if you look back into the manual, you will get some of the things that's actually saying within the manual. So good luck.